Hi everybody, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and today we're looking at a new moon in the mutable Earth sign of Virgo, and it is going to be occurring at 8:52 p.m. Eastern Time this evening. So the forecast that I've written takes into account tomorrow the 7th as well, because we're going to be feeling pretty much the same intensity today as it builds, and then tomorrow as we're riding the crest of that new moon wave. And the degree that it's going to be at is 14 degrees 38 minutes of Virgo. So let's take a look at the forecast that I've written for the new moon in Virgo. New moon in Virgo, Monday, September 6th and Tuesday, September 7th, invites you to consider your needs and make plans in response to transits and aspects that will bring changes in the days ahead. You may have your sights set on big goals and gains, as the moon and sun form a quincunx to optimistic Jupiter in future-oriented Aquarius, as well as a trine to magnetic Pluto in success-driven Capricorn. But a yod aspect pattern of moon-sun in pragmatic Virgo, self-sustaining and self-directed Chiron in Aries, and disciplined Saturn in intelligent Aquarius keeps the exuberance for growth and urge for power in realistic proportion, with a precisely measured output of your time, energy, or resources. You have the sense that time is of the essence, and it should be spent on the fundamental tasks, so that a firm foundation becomes the framework for the bigger things. Virgo rules the 6th house of service-related work, physicality, daily disciplines and chores, your health, habits, exercise, and nutrition, how you use your body, and what you do to stay in your body. As summer fades, nights cool, days shorten, birds migrate, crops are harvested and stored, and animals fatten for winter, your connection to the earth and nature may be felt as an inner urgency to prepare for the change of seasons, even if you are a city dweller who doesn't have to can veggies or chop wood. A grand trine of Mercury in Libra, the North Node in Gemini, and Saturn in Aquarius, as well as a trine between Venus in Libra and Jupiter in Aquarius, ease the flow of ideas and communication. Despite recent oppositions of Mercury, and now Mars, to foggy Neptune, creating frustration and confusion, the discerning new moon, the disciplined and realistic yod, and the fantastic support from the air element signs all point toward finding clarity as you prioritize your needs, choose a path, and begin a new cycle. Adopting new routines takes time, so if you wander off course at the start, just begin again and keep at it until it becomes second nature. So that is the forecast for this new moon. And let's take a look at the sky and how it looks right now and where the planets are moving. And you can see the grand trine here with the North Node and Mercury in that relationship-minded sign of Libra. And Aquarius is group-oriented, society-concerned, looks toward the future, but it also shows the willingness to change and progress. And ideally, what I feel that this grand trine is giving us is the opportunity to really look at science and really look at cause and effect and really look for the truth of things in the bigger picture of the world. Then we have Venus and Jupiter, which are the lesser and the greater benefics, and they are supporting each other. And this may help with making new friends or coming into compromise or agreement with people in terms of growth for the future. Then we have Pluto here engaging with Mars, and that gives a lot of, I didn't put that in the forecast, but that one trine there gives a lot of power, drive, and determination. Mars is action-oriented, extremely physical, and Virgo can be very particular and wants to fix problems, get the task done. It's usually solution-oriented, and Pluto is very determined here in Capricorn to make something successful. And the sextile that Pluto makes in turn to Neptune in Pisces, there may be higher ideals behind that drive for improvement and something better. So if you are looking to do something about health, diet, exercise right now, your determination and even being forceful about it if it involves other people and you are having to work through problems and persist. There's all the energy you need there to be brave, to be persistent, to argue a case if you are having to, present evidence and facts about things. Then we've got Mercury. It's well aspected here in the Grand Trine, but it is opposing Chiron in Aries. And I feel that that's going to be highlighting the differences between people. And of course, when we have differences, then we have frustration, and we have Mars opposing Neptune, and that's definitely a frustrating opposition. Some people we may just have to walk away from. We may just have to realize that we're not going to be a good fit with everybody. But the Virgo energy wants us to try, and the Libra energy wants us to communicate. So do your best. Keep an open mind, be willing to be adaptable or flexible as you work towards solutions in relationship. But if really all the love is gone or nobody's willing to bend, the cardinal signs very often are quite stubborn about being right, that their way is the right way. And the Virgo energy is flexible and adaptable. Hopefully that will help toward people coming to compromises. There is the potential for compromise because both Venus and Mercury also make favorable aspects. In other words, we're going to go forward with each other or without each other, but one way or another, things are moving forward. You just have to figure out whether something is workable or it is not. So for relationships on the romantic level, it's very mixed right now. It's a good time for spending more of your energy on the friendship side of your relationship and working at things together, looking at and analyzing and discussing the practical things rather than sweeping things under the rug and ignoring stuff that's bothering you. It's good to talk about it, but to not go on the attack, like you this and you that. You want to use that word we, which is what Libra says, whereas Aries is I, and it's quite self-aware. Yes, we have to be self-aware right now for our own, mental and physical health, and that yod that I mentioned is in the background there, where we have to get realistic. We just really have to get realistic and look at whether we're growing or we're stagnating. And if it is because of another person and they're not willing to accommodate us or adjust and change or work at compromise in a relationship, then it may be time to be single and independent or to break away, whether that's a romantic relationship or any other kind of a relationship. But do use that Grand Trine first and make sure you go through as much communication as possible or all the channels open to you for help or assistance before you throw everything away and totally close a door on a person or a group or an organization. Mixed energy as things are fairly scattered all over the place. This Venus-Pluto square can be jealousy. It can be extreme determination to get what you desire. And if it happens to be strong sexual romantic attraction to somebody else and it's not being reciprocated, then you may have to just back off. Or if you find that you're being pursued and you're not interested, you may have to communicate, the let's just be friends, or no, really, I'm not interested. Because there can be a lot of passion when Venus and Pluto connect, and when it's a square, sometimes the passion goes to the dark side, that it's not comfortable for both parties. And if you have any personal insecurities, it's going to come up in the relationship dynamics, most likely as jealousy. And, oh, my partner's not looking at me, they're looking at somebody else, and maybe they're really not interested in the other person. But if you have something going on inside you, then this may be an opportunity for a revelation as to what's going on subconsciously and how you can work at changing that. We have some positive aspects of change, like the sun and the moon are making this trine to Uranus in Taurus. We can make changes for the better. And the Aquarius energy here and here with Saturn and Jupiter also point toward change. And they're all favorable aspects coming out from the Aquarius planets. We simply have to be willing to go through the work of changing and making adjustments or seeing things from a different point of view. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for the degree that the moon will be at. So we round up to 15 degrees, and we've got a fine lace handkerchief heirloom from valorous ancestors. Keynote: the quintessence of deeds well done. Root strength produces beautiful flowers. The neophyte who acts with determination, courage, and discrimination while following in the footsteps of his predecessors receives a symbolic prize from the Brotherhood, ready to welcome him when he has fully proven himself on the battlefield, where he meets his past, which tries to block his way. The mystic beloved hands him what she has woven for him out of spiritual threads. This is the last stage of the 33rd sequence, which also ends the 11th scene characterization. This scene began with the revelation in a portrait of salient features in a man's face. It ends with symbols which bring out the ultimate validity of the many efforts of generations of men, toward the building of a beautiful and significant culture. The man of culture is, in the deepest and best sense of the term, the aristocrat. He is the flowering of a line of ancestors who have accepted responsibility for a group or community. Likewise, the true disciple is the blossom that crowns a long series of incarnations. Well, that sounds a great deal like working at some karmic lessons, that it's not just about the here and now, it's also about our connection to those who come before us. Within Virgo energy, there's always going to be the pull to the opposite sign, Pisces, which is deeply spiritual, whereas Virgo is more practical and material, and what are we doing here now, physically, in the present moment. And the bigger picture and the dissolving of all those boundaries sits opposite in Pisces. So even though we may feel like we're kind of separate and apart, and here we are in our little, moment of time, and the things that surround us, we are just a part of a lineage and part of something much bigger, where there's been a continuity over time. The one thing that jumped out for me most is the past trying to block our way. And what we have astrologically right now is distinctly looking to rewrite. We're getting a rewriting of history on a socio-political level a great deal, where we're getting to the truth of history, and we're doing things like removal of statues that may be considered offensive to society now. And I'm not going to get into a whole debate over politics, but we're changing our view as a society. We can't be letting our past dictate our future to such an extent that there is no growth. I feel like the lingering planet here for society is Pluto, because we've already had Saturn and Jupiter now moving through Aquarius, and next year we're going to be tipping into the Pisces energy with Jupiter, followed by Saturn. But Pluto wants to hold on to what's old and established, the patriarchy, the power in larger corporations, or people who have a great deal already and don't want to share it. And there's a lot of greed associated with Pluto in Capricorn, and wanting to keep the patriarchy alive. But it won't go on forever. And these planets are affecting society. So there will be changes, and we will have discomfort and upheaval and transformation through all of that. In your own personal life, take a look at perhaps where Pluto is moving and where you may have fears of stepping into your own power, or where you are very stuck in your past and afraid to let go of that past, because that is probably going to be key in how you can make the most of both Saturn and Jupiter in Aquarius as they move through your chart. All right, I think that's it. Enjoy your new moon and get organized. Or even though Virgo is associated with being very neat or tidy, but not necessarily. Virgos tend to know where everything is, or they have a whole lot of miscellaneous knowledge or tools, or they're the go-to person really for fixing a problem or getting advice or information. And take a look at your life and the scattered pieces and examine what you want to keep and what will be used, what no longer serves you. How can you be of service and fulfill needs, or how are your own needs being fulfilled at this juncture with that new moon? And then make up your plan. How are you moving forward? Mars gives a lot of drive to actually do things on the physical level, not just, okay, yeah, I've looked at all of this and now I have a nice plan, and then that goes out the window and it's forgotten. Mars says, okay, at 6 a.m., are you going to get up and exercise or what? You said you were. So get up and do your exercises, clean up your space, clean up your health, look at your work and whether you're on purpose and feel satisfied or not. And if not, go and make those changes. You take care and stay safe. I'll talk to you at the full moon in 2 weeks.